So the first application I'm going to show you today is what's called roll to roll. And that's where we put a roll of over laminate on top and a roll of printed media on the bottom. So the first thing I do is open up the cradle, bring my shaft out, and then load my roll of film onto the shaft. Now there are two ways that film is wound on the shaft. One is where the release liner is rolled to the inside of the roll of film, and the other is where the release liner is on the outside of the film. In this case, it's on the inside, which is known as poly-in. So what I'll do is I put my roll of film on, and then I center it to my scales on the shaft. So I know that I'm pretty close to even all the way across, but I'll also double check that one more time. So the next thing we're going to do is load our roll of media on the bottom. So I'll flip my feed tray up out of the way, then I'll open up the cradle and I'll slide the film shaft out, and then take my roll of media and put it on that shaft. Now this is an adhesive back vinyl that has a release liner on the inside of it. And this is already printed, so it's going to come off in the opposite direction of our film. So what I'll do is put this on the shaft. We'll slide that all the way over. Now close this cradle, making sure it's locked in place. And I'll continue sliding that, and I'm going to put this as close to the same mark as what I had on top. To make sure that I do have that set up properly, I'll take this roll of film, and we're going to unroll this and bring it down to our media and just measure it against the roll of media to make sure we're lined up correctly. So bring this down. Oh, my roller. There's my tray. Bring this down and measure it. Now, you see I didn't quite get it correct. So I'll just slide that over until my edges line up. Once I see that my edges are lined up, I'm ready to go. So go ahead, lower that back down. And rewind. Now what we do is we're going to attach this roll of over laminate to the rewind tube on this side. So this is our liner, and this is our adhesive. So what we'll do is we're going to take a piece of masking tape. We're going to do what's called a bow tie. So I'm just going to twist this just like that. So I have a sticky side here and a sticky side here. I will then attach this to the tube just like that. So I have a sticky side sitting here. Bring this up and attach it to the other side. Just like that. At this point, I'm ready to separate the film from the liner. So I'll carefully peel back the edge of the film. Can't get it there, start out on the edge. And we'll work our way across till we get that separated completely. This can be a little tricky because that film is trying to stick to your fingers and doesn't want to release very well from the liner. That's normal. Some people will actually take this film and roll over a little bit of the leading edge so that they have something to hold on to and it doesn't stick to their fingers. Once I have it separated at this point, then I'm going to go ahead and pull my film down until it's draping over the roller like this. Bring my tray up. just tuck this down underneath. This is the only point where we like static electricity. It helps keep that roller, or the film, to the roller. I will then bring my printed media up and attach it right to that roll of film. So if you come down, you'll notice that there's a nice big idler bar right here. So I want to go back behind that idler bar because that idler bar helps keep this media nice and tight to the roller. So bring that up. Nice and straight. Okay. At this point, I'm going to take this media and I'm going to bring it up a little bit. I'm going to tack it to that and then push this whole thing right into the nip area, just like that. Okay? At this point, I can go ahead and close my rollers. And we're now ready to run. So I'll use my foot pedal at this point over here, and I'm going to set this on a slow speed, and I'm just going to start that in a little bit and watch to make sure that everything's going through the machine. Okay, now we can go ahead and close the feed tray. At this point, I will go ahead and run a little bit more through the film, or through the machine. I will also keep an eye on my separation. So what we're going to do is get ready to attach this to the rewind on the back side of the machine. I'll run a little bit more through there. And once I know we have enough back there, I'll go ahead and walk around back and let's go ahead and attach this. So I have my roll of film, or roll of tape. I'm going to give myself a nice clean little edge. We'll take the finished media, bring that down, attach that to the rewind tube. Bring that down a little bit. Now we're going to go ahead and turn the rewinder on over here. So I'm going to put that in forward. That means it's now going to start running. And as you can see, the web is now being taken up by the rewind assembly. Now in some applications, we're going to go ahead and do some side slitting. So I'll go ahead and put my side slitters back in, and then I'll move my slitter down, because I know that I want to slit right here. You can see my different graphics. So I'll put that right there, tighten it down. Do the same with this one. Slide that over. My blade is. Tighten it. Engage that slitter. engage that slitter. Then I'll press run. And now we're slitting our graphics. Okay, then I'm going to come back to the front. I'm watching my separation here. I'd like to have a little bit of a bag on that release liner. That way I know I'm not overstressing my film. If I don't see a bag right there, if this release liner is tight up against that rewind tube, I'm probably putting too much stress on that film. And that can cause popping at a later date. The finished product might not stay down on whatever media that you're putting it on. You notice that we're going through nice and smooth. There are no rivers, there are no wrinkles in here. If there were wrinkles coming through and cascading, I would add some brake tension, but this looks good, so I'm not going to worry about that. The other thing is, if I see where I'm getting rivers and wrinkles going through the center and it starts overlapping itself, that means I have too much roller pressure on it, and I can come over here to my hand wheel and just back it off a little bit, release some of that. The rule of thumb is, when you run that hand wheel down and you feel those rollers touch, if you're looking at the face of a clock, let's say this is at 7 o'clock, I would go to 8. And that's all the tension you want, or pressure that you want to put on those rollers. Any more, you can start causing problems in your finished product.